This is Joey Factor from New Dilemma, and you're listening to the Brutally Delicious Podcast.
One, two, three, four. The Brutally Delicious Podcast. The Brutally Delicious Podcast. The Brutally Delicious Podcast. The Brutally Delicious Podcast.
70,000 tons of metal.
The original, the world's biggest heavy metal cruise. 60 bands, 4 days, one cruise ship, only 3,000 tickets.
From Miami, Florida to Ocho Rios, Jamaica.
January 30th to February 3rd, 2025. 5 days and 4 nights mingling side by side with your favorite artists in this incredible fan-friendly scenario that has no comparison.
Go to 70,000tons.com and book your ticket now.
So anyway, thanks for taking the time. Good to see you again. You guys have been on the show before, right? I think we've talked before.
Yes, sir.
Probably a while back, but
yeah, it's been a while. I think since the first record we had out with Pavement. But yeah, thanks for having us on again, man. I really appreciate it.
So I was listening to the new singles, and especially shoot, I can't think of the name of it now. The video that I was just watching.
Run and Hide.
Yeah, sorry. It took me a second to connect it. Listening to Run and Hide, and you guys have definitely progressed and created something that's very riffy, but also just so well produced. How did you get this far? How much work did you put in to get this far?
I believe it was, we got on with Jordan Beal, the new producer out of Chicago, and we actually did 4 singles last year that we released on our own. We didn't push. We were just really sort of trying to dive into our music and build that relationship with the producer. And man, when we wrote these next 4 and went back with him with a plan, he just nailed it, and he's works with the Architects. He's works Fire from the Gods. This guy works with some great bands. So he just really dialed us in, and I feel like he finally helped us define our sound.
Right. So the EP we're talking about is Toxic, and it's like so. I think you hit it right on the head. Redefined. So what's been the response to it so far? Has it been pretty amazing?
Yes, this is by far the biggest single for New Dilemma. I mean, I think our music videos approaching 200,000 views. Our Spotify was way down. I think we're up in somewhere around 15,000 monthly listeners. The people reaching out about the music, YouTube's doubled in subscribers. We just hit 10,000. It really brought people in this time, but I also pride myself on writing stuff people can connect with. Everything I write lyrically is emotionally and deep personal things, like, most musicians it is, but I call it hard on the sleeve writing, man. And that's just how I do it.
So I often ask this question then, hard on the sleeve writing. Do you ever feel you're too vulnerable or put too much of yourself into it and be like, holy shit, I don't think I can, or my grandma's going to hear this, or my best friend's going to hear that, and that sort of thing?
Yeah. Honestly, I guess I used to when I was younger, but I think for the art of it, that it has to be that way. I think you have to make yourself vulnerable. I think you have to put yourself in that space. As I dig through these emotions, most people don't understand how hard that can be to get through in the studio, as you're really sort of, even if it's something that happened in the past that you've now dug back into, it hurts again. It brings all that pain back to the surface.
Right.
But at the end of the day, I think that's what makes the art shine.
Right. And I think it's definitely a catharsis and that sort of thing. But so with that in mind, do you feel a sort of, or a sense of responsibility when writing your lyrics to be a certain kind of, or to proclaim a certain kind of positive energy, or is that just how it works?
It's just kind of how it ends up. I sort of have this in my writing. I like what I call the little bit of light at the end of the tunnel, because these are a lot of things that I've been through and made it through that made me stronger and tougher. And, So yeah, I just think it's all very important to put it out there that way.
Okay. And then when the fans connect with it, that must be like the ultimate payoff, right?
Oh yeah, man. It really is, because sometimes as an artist, or as long as we've been doing this, we're about to enter our 9th year here. So we've been doing this for a while. So, what I've learned is that everybody takes it differently. And what I even love within our band is that the guys within the band tend to take different things from the lyrics that they've been through. So, you know, while it may not be the same exact moment, I find that people have found they can really connect with that and apply it to their own experiences. And
Right.
man, that's the goal right there.
That's awesome. So when you guys were writing this, is this something of a collaborative effort, or is it more the efforts of one particular member of the band?
No, man, this new stuff and these last 8 songs have been a full collaboration of the whole band. Zach Robin, our lead guitar player, he's you know, he went to school for music. He knows music theory, so he gives us a base to go on, right? Like he'll riff and come up with just some sounds and stuff, and we'll start vibing on that, and then we all start putting our pieces in. But I mean, like he's like, I had an idea, and he'll send you something, and you're like, man, this is better than songs I used to write when I was young, you know? So
Right.
you know, but then everybody puts their own spin on it, literally. I mean, every song tends to lean me towards the emotion, and then our drummer Sean Kimmerling gets it and he does what he does, and our bass player Roach gets it and he does what he does, and everybody writes their own parts, everybody puts their piece in. But at the end of the day, Zach Robin is definitely the strongest section for us writing. I mean, he has so many skills, and it's amazing to work with him. I'm glad he's on my team.
So when you're writing then these songs, are you writing like for the stage, like how it's going to come across live? Like this be a good part for a breakdown or a break or whatever. Or are you writing the songs for the song's sake and adapting them later?
Um, I would say a little bit of both. Sometimes certain songs bring something where I'm like, oh man, if we do this and a little breakdown here, this is going to turn really well live. Now we always take live into consideration no matter what, because we want to make sure we can bring that to the fans. But I also don't hold myself back writing like we shouldn't do this because this wouldn't work as well for the live or whatever. So it's always in the back of our minds, and we always make sure that that's a piece of it, but it goes back and forth, to be honest.
Right.
When we're writing, I call it the roller coaster. I believe music should go up and down. It should take you for a ride. And I think that these songs do that. They do it for me. You know, when one thing has that one pace, you know, it just starts ba 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 ba, ba, and that's all
Right.
you get for 3.5 minutes. I don't know how to decipher my emotions through that song. And I'm a lyrical
Right.
guy. I'm a writer. So that's where I have to be. But teach your own, man. Like my mom always says, that's why there's more flavors in ice cream than vanilla.
Oh, sure. But then it leads to a whole new, I think, well, a whole new lost art. It's going to sound weird, but you guys have to sequence the record to convey that emotion, right? Or sequence the EP, and it's not like you can really release single after single after single. This is more music that has to be listened to top to bottom, right?
Yeah, I mean, we've sort of been I don't want to say put in that box, but we've been put in more of a situation where EPs were what we needed to do. And I feel like that I do get in sort of a bubble of emotion about what that whole thing leads to. And all these songs on this EP Toxic are not different. They all come from a more specific time. But I do believe our next run, we've been talking with our manager, and I believe we are going to be doing some singles over the next year. It costs so much more money to put out an EP. Now, I think we're lucky because I think we have 4 good singles on this EP. But most of the time you put 4 out hoping you get 2 or even 1 great one. But I feel like we have 4 good songs that we can put out here. But we are going to be focusing more on singles over the next year. Our manager, Paul Crosby, a lot of people know him as the drummer of Saliva. But since he's come on board and helped with direction, that's also just such a huge part of what's taking place.
Right. So I was flipping through the your YouTube page yesterday doing some research, and I came across the behind the scenes shoots for Run and Hide. That looks like that was a blast.
Oh yeah, man. We always have fun. I mean, music videos are one of my favorite things to do. And we work with Kill Devil Films pretty much only. And man, Thomas is just genius, you know, and he's working with some great bands right now. and we sort of let him run with his vision when it comes to a music video. If you look back at Playing Victim or Bury My Demons, I'm like, just run with it, man, because I'm a musician. I'm not a movie video guy,
Right.
so I prefer to let him do his thing. But it makes it more fun. It takes a little pressure off of us to just for him to be like, this is my vision. This is how I think we need to approach it. And then we go in there and have a great time and just perform. And yeah, man, it was a lot of fun. We had an absolute blast on that set.
A lot of work went into it too, I'll bet, though, right? Because it's pretty
Oh,
intense.
so long. My family worked on little things in the background that maybe a lot of people may never see. We had a lot of friends. My wife's in it. My daughter's in it. My almost new son-in-law's in it. So it was really cool with all the masks and being able to really have a lot of people in the video to have a good time, even though it's just little blips and clips in the mask. It's really cool to have all those people around you while you're working.
Right. So I know you play quite a bit live. I was looking at some of your dates. You're kind of playing often. Are you guys planning on taking us on the road?
Yeah, that's actually probably one of the number one goals right now is touring opportunities and getting back on the road. We haven't been on anything big since we were out with Cold, and right now I think we're to the point where, we're in that point where we've sort of rose above the local scene. We've done national touring. This is a tough spot for bands, and people don't realize that you get in that where you're too big for this and too small for that. So that's probably one of the hardest, biggest things that we're working on right now. But yeah, we're going back out there, and I believe there may be a show announcement today. It was supposed to be today. But we will be going out to Ocean Springs, Mississippi in November. That's about all I can
Nice.
say.
Right.
So we're
And
starting to get back out there.
I mean, it's very different from probably the last time we were out there as well, right? I mean, the whole touring industry has changed, so it's a lot more difficult.
Oh, big time, man. And we were out in 2021 when COVID was still kicking everybody's ass. So, um, you know, I, I don't even know, honestly, what it would be like at this point. There were so many protocols in place at venues at that point. You couldn't really connect quite the way you wanted to with
Right.
fans like you can again. Um, but yeah, I think it's going to be vastly different. Not only that, after COVID, I believe that the touring industry and the music industry just became oversaturated. I mean, every band that's ever been decided they were going to get back together after COVID
Well,
and tour.
Right. And even the ones that were out there had to get out and start playing. So everybody was scheduling tours all at the
Yeah.
same time. And it's like that bottleneck for sure.
Yeah, there was one point I know of a couple of bands that had to cancel tours because they couldn't even find a tour bus to rent. Like it got pretty crazy.
Yeah. Crazy stuff. And I think it's sort of evened out, but I know it's gotten just incredibly expensive from the people that I talk to.
Oh yeah, man. I mean, touring is definitely one of the worst on cost, and you know, unfortunately, in the brutal world of music, people also don't understand of how many tours are buy-ons in this modern day, and how much it costs to even leave the
Yes.
house. So there's a real cost, and man, that's why when we're out there, whatever band you're seeing, buy those shirts, buy those stickers, and help them out, because you think they're just making a bunch of money, but at the end of the day, we're just hoping to get gas and eat and make it to the next show.
I've heard a lot of stuff about like venues taking cuts of merchandise and all kinds of other stuff that I didn't even know about, but I guess it's been
Yeah.
happening.
Oh yeah, man. I mean, 20% of your merch is nothing new, and man, it was a tough one. It's always been tough, and it'll be tough. The venue gets ticket sales, the venue gets alcohol sales, and all this. And yeah, I don't think they need to be touching the band's money. Now, if you're an arena, I think there's different levels of that, right? Like if you're touring arenas and everybody up top is taking your stuff, and they have people literally at the arenas that sell your stuff for you. Okay,
Right.
I get the thing, but when I have to carry all my stuff, I have to bring all my stuff, I have to hire a person to stand there and sell that stuff. I don't understand where their 20% markup comes in, but
Right.
that's a sore subject for pretty much every musician at our level in the industry. But I will say there's a lot of venues that are doing better and not doing that to bands. So I do want to give credit where it's due
Right.
to the places that are trying to help musicians again.
So how is it even you know, I guess you have to. I guess what I'm saying is you have to really must want to do this because besides what we just talked about, not making money on tour, you're getting squashed on the other end by Spotify, right? So this has to be like
Yeah.
passion.
Yeah, I mean, we're all running on passion at this point. I mean, I was reading some articles like I was talking a few minutes ago. I mean, we're in a position where most bands, this is where they crumble. Because of the fact of the cost of touring, and you're in a position of close to breaking out and not quite there. So um it's just really brutal, man. For us, it's definitely passion. I started this, and I probably touched on this in our first interview, but I have a special needs daughter. I was a single dad for a while. She told me to go get it again, and that's what I did, and she inspired me to do so. So for me, it's about this whole thing is about not giving up and pushing forward. That's like our motto. Um, so so yeah, if I didn't absolutely love what I did, there's no way to keep pushing through this, if I'm
Right.
being honest.
Okay. So what's next then? I know you said you have that coming up. Once this is out, are you going to do the 4 singles for it, for
Um,
all 4 tracks?
I that's the plan right now because we believe that they are all good enough to do so. We have 3 new ones in the works already,
Right.
and already working on when we're getting back in the studio. And ultimately, like I said, we are focusing on touring, reaching out, and at least if we're not in full tour, we're going to be trying to do more regional shows and
Hmm.
stay busy and get out of state and get in front of more people. I don't think we're at a point where playing local show after local show is going to benefit the career. And I also believe there's a certain point where you devalue your band by playing once a month for no
Yeah.
particular reason. I
Right.
mean, we just played the House of Blues Orlando. If you wanted to see New Dilemma, that was the shot. Why should we go play a bar 6 weeks later?
Right.
That's
No, no, that makes sense.
that's sort of the way we're looking at it. And people have different views about that, love me or hate me for it, whatever it is. But we have to make the best decisions we can for our band, and people forget that it's a music industry and that a band is a business.
Right.
We do this because we love it, but we also have to take the business side very seriously to get
Right.
anywhere.
No, and you have to fund it from somewhere, right? Because it's very
Oh
difficult to
yeah.
make a living just doing it.
Oh yeah.
Most people have to have second job, or jobs and then this.
Yeah, man, I see all the time some bigger bands that are on tour, and they talk about going back to work, and people are like, what do you mean they're on tour? There, it's like, man, there's a false sense of money being
Right.
made by musicians. A
Right.
big they're like,
They're
well, we
work.
buy t-shirts for $30, like you should be loaded. And be like, again, we spend maybe upwards of $300 to $500 to even play a show
Right.
on tour, and plus gas plus food. A band is $700 to $1,000 in debt at the first show where you're seeing them. Buy
Right.
those shirts.
Yep. We get it. And if fans want to find you guys, can you give us all your socials?
Absolutely. You can always find us on our website at newdilemma.com. We are at New Dilemma Official everywhere else: Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, whatever your choice is. And we are streaming on anything and everything: Pandora, Spotify.
Thank you, my friend. It's a pleasure talking to you. Good luck with everything, and maybe
All
we'll
right,
catch
you
up
as
here in
well.
Virginia somewhere. Be well.
Absolutely. Very soon.
All
You
right.
too.
Cheers.